Welcome to Allie's Attic, where you never know what kind of surprise you'll find in my attic. I'm your host, Allie, and today my surprise is a singer-songwriter from Alberta, Canada, Drew Gregory. Hi, Drew.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing awesome. How about you?
I'm doing very well. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, anytime. Now tell me all about you. Pretend I've never met you.
Oh, man, where does my journey begin? I guess in the small town of Standard, Alberta, we got about 350 people, I think we're up to now. So it's a tiny little farming town, but grew up there and farmed for, I guess, kind of been involved in the farm my whole life. We grew up right in town and moved out to the farm when I was, I guess, about 16 years old, just when I got my vehicle, so it was good timing. But yeah, just always loved the farm life and the small town life and stuff. And went off to college for a couple of years and came back, went to Australia for a half a year. And then when I came back from that, I guess when I was over there, I was kind of starting to play guitar a lot more and I guess sing a lot more. I kind of always played guitar, but wasn't much of a singer. And over there, we were just at so many parties and stuff. I started singing a lot more. And I think when I came back is when I kind of started to make the decision that maybe music was where I wanted to make my career. Had always done it kind of for fun before that, but anyways, as everybody does in Alberta, worked in the oil patch and on the farm for a couple of years, and then Dad kind of asked if I wanted to come back and farm full time, and Grandpa was kind of getting out of it, and thought that was a pretty good thing to do, so started doing that, and that gave me a little more time in the winters, and made my first trip down to Nashville, where I'd always kind of worked in the oil patch in the winters. I thought I'd try to kind of dip my feet into the music business a little bit. And I guess coming from a town that small, you kind of think that you're, the best musician around. You're the only musician around is the reason for that. And I tell you, that first trip to Nashville was a real eye-opener. You realize there's some pretty amazing talent down there. You think you're going to go down there and do pretty well at it in the first few months and, make all these connections and everything, and you realize there's about 10,000 people down there exactly like you. So it was a good eye-opener, though. I mean, it definitely made me realize I had to work a lot harder and really got into the whole writing scene, and ended up getting a contact for Nashville Songwriters Association. They had a chapter in Calgary. I thought that was a pretty cool thing. So when I got back, I joined up with that, and the guy that ran that actually directed me towards something Rolco Radio was putting on. It was the 10K20 program. I ended up getting this grant. We actually used some songs that I'd done a little, like my first 5 or 6 songs I'd ever written. I don't think they were anything special at the time or anything, but we ended up getting this grant through these songs that we'd just done this little album for my mom for Christmas, basically, and ended up getting this $10,000 grant to make another one. So that's with the community support and everything, really kind of kick-started my career and started playing live a lot more, and started making that album, and that came out in 2010, I guess, and that thing just did huge for us. I don't know why or what. I wrote all the songs on it, and I guess just kind of that small town support. Everybody wanted it, and they showed all their friends, and next thing you know, we were playing all over southern Alberta. So that's kind of where the whole music career started for me. But yeah, and then from there we went back down to Nashville a whole bunch, writing a lot more. Ended up doing an album with Aaron Goodwin, who's doing very good right now. He's still a close friend of mine and living down in Nashville. But did my second album, kind of full-length album, I guess, with him, and then moved the career forward pretty good. We had a video we did for CMT, and they played that one quite a bit, and that kind of helped us spread across Canada a little more and get a little further reach with a lot of the radio stations. And then being across Canada, got in touch with Jason Barry, who's a fantastic producer and songwriter, and has done some amazing things in Canadian country music and all music, but really talented guy. But ended up making my last album with him. He's just really kind of took a lot of time, I guess, before making this last album to kind of figure out my sound. I think I've always not rushed into projects, but just kind of always wanted to get the next thing out. And he kind of stopped me and said, "Who is Drew Gregory? What's your sound? what do you want to do kind of thing. And I took about 3 or 4 trips. He's based out of Toronto. I'm still in Alberta here, and took, I think 3 trips before we even put anything down on tape. He wanted to go through songs with me and figure out what my style was and what I was after. And I think all that pre-production definitely paid off big time in the end, because this album's doing some great things for us too. So yeah.
Well, and he's worked with people like Aaron Lines, Dean Brody, Terry Clark, and Charlie Major, and he's been recognized as Producer of the Year for the last 3 years by the Country Music Association of Ontario. So that says a lot for him. And it's awesome that he pushed you to try to find your own sound, because I know a lot of people try to not imitate other people, but they want them to sound like that because they think if I sound like that, it'll sell, because theirs are selling. So it's awesome that there's producers out there that will push you to find out who you are. I think that's really awesome.
Yeah. Oh, he's awesome, and we're already working on the next project with him. And I mean, definitely don't want to commend everybody else that I've worked with in the business. Aaron Goodman, I did my last album before that at MCC in Calgary. They're fantastic people too, but just something clicked with Jason right from that first phone conversation. I knew it just something seemed right. So it's cool to kind of have one single dedicated producer. I've never worked on a second album with a producer. I've always kind of gone on and looked for the next thing. So to be doing a second one with him speaks volumes, and really excited for the next project as well. We already got a couple recorded, and not sure when it's going to be out or anything yet, but it's sounding good already. So
good. Let me know when it's out, because I'll plug the heck out of it. Now, you have won in 2015 the ACMA Male Artist of the Year. And then in 2016, you won for the Album of the Year. I was there.
Yeah, man, all these provincial associations, I don't know much about the other ones, I guess, but I've always see things online and social media and stuff about all these up and coming artists, and then you kind of watch them for a couple of years, and then next thing you know, they're winning an award, and I always thought just that would be so freaking cool to have one day in Alberta. And I think Alberta was a little bit behind, just kind of started, I guess, 5-6 years ago was kind of the first official big award show for the ACMAs, but man, has it grown, and they got just a fantastic board, and they work so hard to promote country music in this province, and I think we got some great stuff, and it's so cool, starting the first one I went to, just introducing myself to everybody, it was, nobody even knew what my name was, and then the second one, you're kind of reminding them, and then, third, fourth come along, and then by the fifth one I went to winning Male Artist of the Year, it's amazing, but just have made some great friends in this business, and that always helps. But to be voted Male Artist of the Year, I can definitely say I wasn't expecting that. It was quite a surprise when we got it that year, but very honored. And then last year we were up against Bobby Wills in that category, so he took that one, which I have no problem giving up my reign to him. He's a great guy, but still got the Album of the Year, which, like I said, just so proud of that last album and what we did with it, and just couldn't be more happy with that award too. So it's cool. I just love these provincial organizations. They're doing so much to help out young and up and coming artists and stuff, and they're starting to work with the CCMAs a lot more. And it's awesome. I think country music is real strong in this country because people like working hard like that. So cool.
Well, and I think it's really strong because it can relate to, like, you're still you still live in the small town that you grew up in, and you're still a member of the local Ag Society. For people who don't know what the Ag Society is, I do, because I went to 4-H and grew up on a farm kind of every summer in Inglis, Manitoba. And then I finally actually moved there for 2 years. So I know what the Ag Society is all about. And a lot of the country singers sing about, the hardships of being a farmer and how hard it is. So I think that's why we relate to country songs a lot more than anything else. That's my perspective of it anyways. I mean, it always has been. Now, go ahead.
I got a few farming tunes. I always try to get one or two of those in, on an album. But that's just where I've obviously drawn most of my inspiration for these things, and I think that's where the first album, I just wrote what I knew about. I didn't know anything about the industry or really even, what I was listening. Wasn't thinking so much about, what I was hearing on the radio or trying to be successful. I didn't even know how to go to radio. Thankfully, my manager came along about a year and a half after I even put that album out. Usually you put a single out or go to radio with some singles off an album. She came along and said, "Man, this is a great album. We need to do something with it." And I didn't even know what to do. I was just kind of selling it off stage at shows and stuff. But yeah, I think it did really connect with all those small towns. That's where I was playing. All these rodeo dances, things like that. I think I sold over almost 1,000 CDs just in that, first year and a half kind of thing without any radio push, anything like that. So I think there's, for up and coming artists, if you're just kind of writing about small towns and playing in small towns, you can still do pretty well kind of thing. But now obviously we're doing a little more with the radio and stuff, but no, we're having fun with it all.
Well, that's good. Now, the part that just amazes me, you actually lived in hostels when you went to Nashville, did you not?
I did. There's one really good one down there, actually. I had gone to Australia, like I said before, and we backpacked all over there, so you kind of got used to the hostel scene and realized they were not so bad as you hear all the horror stories about them, but I think they're awesome. Just great places to meet people and always a good time there. So yeah, the first trip I went down there and I looked up there's a hostel, so I'll stay there for a week until I was staying there for a few months and then maybe go look for kind of apartment kind of thing. And I remember walking in there and asking if I could get a room and told him that was my intention to kind of eventually go get an apartment. And the guy said, "Oh, we actually have apartments out back." So I went back there, and I mean, I have no connections in the town at all. I've never met anyone that's even been there kind of thing. So I was kind of, wondering what this was all going to be about. And I remember walking in that back room and I was a huge Eric Church fan, still am, but he was the guy that got me into a lot of writing. And I remember walking into this hostel room, this private room, and there's a poster of Eric Church hanging on the wall. And I said, "Okay, this is where I'm supposed to be." That's pretty cool. So
there's the sign.
So I ended up staying there the first 3 months, and then every time I went back down there for about 3 or 4 years, stayed there, and then had become really good friends with the guy that was working there and also chasing a music career named Dakota J. He's got his own place and his own studio in his place, and he's doing a lot of songwriting and stuff. But I actually just stay with him when I go down there. So I mean, if I hadn't stayed at that hostel, I wouldn't even know that guy. So it's and he's one of my best friends. He was in my wedding party and everything. So it's pretty cool. I think it's a great place to make connections. And if you know nobody, right away there. And then obviously Music City, the hostel was full of musical people. So there's jams every night, and I made some of my best friends in the world of that place. So I'm happy I went there.
Yeah, that would be absolutely awesome, I think. I mean, I don't sing, so I don't know why I'd go there, but I am going to Nashville. It's on my bucket list. I am so going.
Oh, I'm telling you should stay at the hostel. They got one right downtown now, too. You'll meet so many people to go out and have fun with, even if you're by yourself. It'd be a blast. I do highly recommend it. It's right by downtown, and the town itself is so much fun, whether you're a singer or not. If you're a fan of music, it's the place to be. I highly recommend it to anybody.
Okay, well, now I have even more reason to go because I want to meet these people. Now, you still assist out on the family farm, right?
Yeah, that's still. I like to say, winter's a little slower. We haul all our own grain, but we this year got hailed out pretty good, so we didn't have much grain to haul. So I've been down in Nashville once already, and going back down in a few weeks here, and it's Dad's always been amazing with this music thing. Try to take seeding and harvest off. Those 2 months are for right on the farm. Other than that, kind of work there all week and go out and play on the weekends. And he's always been real supportive and making sure I can get off a little earlier if need be, if I got to get to a show to set up and stuff like that, or go to a co-write or whatever it might be. He's been amazingly supportive. My whole family has, so can't thank them enough for that. And I think the two jobs kind of work really well together, the singing and the farming. So hope we can keep doing it because I love them both.
Perfect. Now, you had something special happen to you in 2016. I'm going to let you tell me because I've read it I don't know how many times, and every time I read it, I cry. So you tell us.
We had our first little baby boy there, me and my wife Erin, little Ty. So that was in January 2016. The whole year was amazing. Just starting it with something like that though was definitely pretty special. It was emotional time for me too. I just remember being in that delivery room, and as a first-time father, you got no idea what to expect, kind of thing. And he wasn't breathing right away, and I was a little worried. But everything's so hectic, you don't even kind of know what's going on. And they had him over on the little heating table there, and I'll never forget that the first time he cried there. That was a pretty special thing. I remember my wife too, like, thinking it was a girl the whole time. I thought it was a boy the whole time, and then we got in there, and the heart rate was slow, which they figured was a girl. So the whole day it was, like 17-hour labor or something, and
oh my God.
Had my mind set on, had my mind set, okay, this is a girl now. That's I'm good with that. That's totally fine. And then it came out, and seeing it was a boy, and I got a little emotional even. It was a pretty special thing. I know it is for any father, but that was my story anyway. So yeah, what a great way to kick off a great year for sure.
No kidding. And is there plans for more? I mean, it's kind of soon, but are you planning on more? Are you still with me?
Yeah, sorry.
Oh.
I cut up for a second. There you are.
I'm like, oh my God, I scared him by asking if he wanted more kids.
And that's the end of the interview.
All right, sorry. Okay then. Are you guys planning on having more?
Yeah, I think eventually we're in no rush now. We're having so much fun with him. Just obviously turned a year old, and just starting to get real fun, real talkative, and walking around. And I got him a couple hockey sticks for Christmas, so he's already got that going.
Well, of course.
And he's always, every time the guitar's out laying on the ground, he runs over, and he loves strumming that too. So if he gets into the hockey and the music, I'll be a happy dad for sure. I'll be happy. Either way, whatever he wants to do. Me and my wife both do what we love, and we hope we can inspire him to definitely do the same, chase his dreams and stuff. That's my biggest thing. So no, he's a happy baby now, and we're happy to have him. But eventually we'll look at number 2. But after having him, I think you realize I was always a 3 dad. I wanted 3, but after having 1 kid, you realize how much work they are. I could maybe be convinced down to 2. Well,
especially when you're not the one going through it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you still made me cry, even though I didn't read it. But congratulations to both of you. And
thank you.
What 2 songs are we going to hear from you, Drew?
Yeah, we got a couple off my new album again. The first one is, I don't know what you're going to play first, but I Was There. I didn't actually write on this one, but man, it is one of my favorite songs I've ever heard. On my last album, the first album I wrote all the songs, and the last album I thought, okay, well, we'll look for some outside songs, and I was kind of convinced to, and a few came along that were great, but man, this one got pitched to us, and I just felt so lucky to have it. It's just exactly describes my life, I think, and the power that music has on me. It's just kind of talks about how a song can come on wherever you are, and it just kind of make you go into a daze a little bit, and just kind of stop, and you're kind of reliving the moment, whether it's a new song where the singer's talking about something that you went through, or an old song that you kind of remember where you were when you first heard it, or when you were listening to it a lot. And to me, that's the power that music has on me, and it's such a powerful thing to bring up some old memories and stuff. And that's kind of what this song talks about being in a small town too. And it's just a good reminiscent song, and it was so good that we cut it and made it the title track of the album as well. So we like that one.
Yeah,
and then the second one. Yeah. Did you want to ask something?
No, I'm getting caught up in what you're saying. That's the hardest part about doing these interviews. I'm so invested in your story, right? So I'll be listening, and then something will pop into my head. Oh, I should ask this. And then I'm like, well, no, I'll let him keep going. And I was going to say,
I talk too much too. You can just jump in.
No, by all means. No, this is the part I love. I love letting you tell me your story. That's why I'm doing this. Everybody has a story, and I want to hear it. Now, what's the second song you were going to hear?
Yeah, it's the second one is All About It, and this one's just fun. It was funny, we wrote this song, and I thought it was a good song, but wasn't sure, what to do with it, and took it to Jason, and we started talking it through, and and weren't even sure if we were going to cut it, but then we sped it way up. It was actually quite slow, and we sped it up and put kind of a double time beat on it kind of thing, and man, it just took on a whole new life. And I think a little bit of that inspiration came from my mom. She's from out in PEI, and I used to, when we went out there as kids and stuff, just those kitchen parties and stuff, you know, that kind of Celtic-y kind of East Coast vibe that they got out there. I think I was like, yeah, let's do something like that. And we kind of started talking it through, and man, it just got so much more fun. And we just kept adding instruments and weird instruments, you know, that you don't hear on a lot of stuff, but you might hear at a kitchen party kind of thing. And yeah, it just took on a life of its own, and glad we did cut it, because it ended up being absolutely my highest charting single in every category, our longest running single. It's done amazing for us. It's still on the charts. I think it's still in the top 100 anyways on both charts. So it's done some crazy good things for us over this last few months, and really given us more time to work on the next project too, making sure it's all ready to go, which is always nice when you got a long running single like that. So super glad we cut it, and it's just a fun tune.
Awesome. Now, if people want to purchase your music, where can they get it?
You can get it at, I guess you can just go to drewgregorymusic.com. We do have physical copies of all our albums if you're into that, or it's got the links to all the iTunes and all of our social medias and stuff as well, which we are getting more and more active on. I'm loving how much stuff you can do on that now, and how easy it is to connect with fans. So yeah, please go give us a follow on all our socials as well.
Yeah, and I'll have your website up on my website so
awesome.
People can, type it in and check it out, and go to iTunes, Spotify, wherever they stream music, and grab some of Drew's songs. Now, when your new EP comes out, if you need some help plugging it, give me a call, because I'll put you back on. This isn't a one-time deal for me.
Well, I appreciate that.
And
awesome. No, thank you so much. I just want to make sure I said that. All the people like you across this country promoting music, I mean, it helps us substantially. So thank you so much for having me on here, too.
Oh, anytime. And it helps my dreams come true, too, if I can help your dreams come true. So that's what this...
Win-win.
Win-win. There you go. Okay, thanks a lot, Drew. And thank you for joining me on Allie's Attic. Keep checking my website, because you never know what kind of surprise you'll find in my attic. Cheers.